Alright guys, today is May 4th and we are working on a new project. So in a recent video I show the setup that I just received, and I'm going to put it together today and put it to good use. So it's been a while since I've done any hydroponic videos, and since I got this new toy I can't wait to put it to use. So those that have been grown indoors and have light setup and stuff like that, you know the feelings when you get new toys. But anyway, I just wanted to show you the tent here and how easy it is to set up. So most of the tents nowadays seems to be very easy to put together. I've done a few and the instructions are very clear. It's pretty simple. All you have to do is connect the corners and put these bars in. So let me show you. Okay, so it comes with these very neat and easy instructions. So all I did was here, you have those corners right there, the D parts right there. So each corner has one of those. And all you have to do is follow the instruction exactly. It has a diagram here and it has letters. So there's D's and E's and G's and F. So basically all you have to do is the corners are all the same. All of these corners here are all the same. So you just have to connect the F with the G's, and then every little 2 feet here, this is 2 feet right here, those are all E's. So I don't have to go into the detail. It's so simple. So there it is. I put the frame together and it probably took me about maybe less than 10 minutes. Okay, so let me go ahead and put the rest together, and then we'll put the tent into its spot and grow something. All right guys, I have everything all put together and this is what the tent looks like. It's a 2 feet by 2 feet by a little bit over 5.5 feet tall. So this is probably enough to grow one large pepper plant or maybe tomatoes. So yeah, the tent was pretty easy to put up. The hardest part is putting the fabric on. You kind of have to lay down the tent and work it in. But I think after the first try, I can do it pretty quickly. So anyway, there is the tent. So let's go ahead and get our light set up, get some plants in here, and then we'll start growing something. All right guys, I got everything hooked up. So I'll show it to you real quick before we put a plant in here to grow, and then we'll go through the process so I can show you exactly what I'm doing. So there I have my power strips there, and that is hooked up to a timer. Then I got my pump there, the light here, and it comes with only one of these yo-yo cords. I recommend two because one is gonna move around like this very easily. It sways, so it's best to get an additional one. I have extra, so it's gonna work perfectly. And I did test this a little bit, and when I turned it on, after a while, this does create some heat, and then it also heat up the vent hood right here. I mean the hood here. So we'll see how it's gonna do. I thought it's gonna run a little bit lower, but it does have a little heat come out of here. So here is what I used before, this CMH. Man, that is a heavy duty light. It's very heavy, and you see the bulb, it's a gigantic bulb. And let me flip it over and I'll show you that that's how big it is. So this is the reason why there is a lot of heat in the CMH. But this light here, if you want the sun in your tent, this is the light to get. So that is the reason why it's so hot. And I use this in the wintertime. It's perfect because it generates a lot of heat, and because in the garage during the wintertime it gets pretty chilly, so this light is perfect. But now in the summer I have no AC in the garage. If I run this thing here, it'll burn all my plant. So we'll see how this one does. It should create a little less heat because it's not as heavy duty, and these are basically just LEDs, so we'll see. Anyway, let's go ahead and put our plant in here. And I chose a tomato plant that I'm gonna put in a 5-gallon bucket. So let's do that right now. Alright guys, here is the plant I'm gonna use for the test. And this particular tomato is one of my favorite. It's the black cherry tomato, or the chocolate cherry tomatoes. And I grew this in a small mini hydro. And this is gonna be perfect for our test, because the way to transplant these is to just take it out of here and put it into the larger bucket. So this is the easiest way to grow something small for fun. And then if you want to transplant it into a larger container, it's very, very easy to do. So the net cup in there is a 2-inch net cup. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna drill a hole in this 5-gallon bucket here. And you can get these buckets at Home Depot, and also the lid from Home Depot. So we're gonna drill a hole there with a hole saw. Okay, and the hole saw here is 51 millimeter, and that would be the exact size to drill the hole for that lid. So I'm gonna show you how to do it. Okay, so put the lid onto the bucket, and as you can see, there's a center dot right there. So that is where you're gonna aim. It doesn't have to be exactly, but that's where you should go for. Okay, and set your drill to go forward. Okay, once it caught on, you want to turn it to the reverse. And you want to do this gently so that it doesn't crack this area here. So just do it slowly. Kind of rock the drill back and forth like this. It'll give you a nice cut and easier. There it is. Okay, now we're gonna fill up the container with water. Then we're gonna adjust pH and add our solution. Alright guys, the water is ready, so now we need to add our solution to adjust pH and our nutrients. So in the past, I've done things both way. Sometimes I add the pH and balance it first, and then I add the nutrients. And most people don't agree with that idea. But either way, whichever you prefer, as long as you have the nutrients pH exactly as you need them. So we'll do it the way that people recommend. We'll add the solution first, and then we'll pH. So what I'm using is DynaGro, and it's recommended that you use 5 milliliter per gallon. So this is a 5-gallon, so you do 5 of the 5 milliliter measurement. So each of this is a 5 milliliter. So we'll add 5 of this to 5 gallons. See, it draws exactly 1 teaspoon, which is 5 milliliter. All right, now we're gonna mix it up really well and then check the pH. All right, let's check our pH. So it's a little bit above what I want, so I'm gonna bring it down to around 5.9 to 6. So we're gonna add pH down. And it's a good idea to add a little at a time and then check it. Because if you add too much and then the pH drop too low, then you have to add water and sort of like redo it a little bit. And then once you mix it, you want it to settle a little bit, and then check it again until it's good to around 6, and then we're ready to put the plant in. Alright guys, I've added the pH buffer and I brought it down to around 5.9, so which is a perfect number for me. So next we're gonna move this into our tent and then add the plant. So we're gonna do a DWC method. So I'm gonna add an air pump. So what I did was I drill an additional hole right there. And then this is it. You just need a tool bit right there and just drill a hole large enough for the tube, and that's it. So find one that fits the size of your tube. So I'm gonna move this into the tent and then we'll add a plant. All right, to add the plant, all we have to do is put the lid on. And then we'll take this out. And there you have it. That is how easy it is. So we're gonna hook up that pump into here and then we'll turn the lights on. All right guys, we're all set. So let's turn this on and see. So there it is. Here is the bubble action right there. Everything's looking good. And then there's the light right there. Okay, so it's recommended to be around 12 to 18 for bloom, 18, 20, 24 for veg. So that's around the right height right there. So let me take you around and show you the entire thing. Okay, so this is the tent that it comes with, and it's highly reflective, which is pretty cool. And I think this tent was designed specifically for this light setup because it basically fit exactly to that size with a little moving space here. And still cool so far. But I think it may heat up after a few hours. So I love growing in 5-gallon buckets because it's so simple. And as you can see, when we went through the process, just drill a hole through the lid, fill it up, and because it's a 5-gallon bucket with a handle, you can actually pick it up and move it somewhere. So you can move it outside, inside, and it's very, very easy. And if you do it outside, I have a little solar air pump that works really cool. I've done it before. I've had a few videos done on that, so you can check it out. So my plant is looking pretty good. It's already blooming, so in very short time it's gonna grow much more and it will produce fruits. So we will check back periodically and I will update you and let you see how well the setup is working. So we will be back soon. Alright guys, it has been exactly 8 days now and the plant is making a lot of progress. As you can see, it's growing quite a bit since the 8 days. And look at this, there are fruits. So I saw 2 fruits, 2 tomatoes right there, and the plant is actually growing really well. So it's gotten a little bit bigger. And check this out guys, the roots, man, look at that. It actually grew a lot of roots. So there's some floating in the water and it's really healthy and white, which is exactly what you want when you're growing in DWC or any hydroponic method. So the aeration is actually doing really well, providing the plants with oxygen to produce those beautiful white roots. So it expanded and grew a lot of roots. What that means is in the next few weeks, or maybe just a week, it's gonna grow a lot more. So more roots mean more growth.
Alright guys, welcome back. It has been exactly 2 weeks since I transplanted the tomato into this setup. And man, look at the progress. The plant probably grew 4 to 5 times as large as what it was inside the mini container. And I'll show you what the original plant looked like because I had 2 before I transplanted one into here. Anyway, the plant is doing amazing. It's grown really big, and you know, tomatoes are like crazy growers, so they're gonna start to need staking up pretty soon. So I may get some wires and then attach to the tomato to kind of help support them. But yeah, everything is working great. The light is performing as it should. The tomato plant is growing amazing. And let me show you the root system. Oh, and here, usually temperature would get up to like the 90s degrees Fahrenheit. Today it's really cold outside because it's raining right now. So that's why it's a little bit cooler. So right now it's around 82, 83 degrees Fahrenheit in here. And here is the roots. Man, nice healthy roots. Eventually the roots are going to expand and fill up this whole bucket, and then then you can't fill them as much water as the whole container can hold. So that's usually the what you get when you grow in DWC for tomatoes or pepper. The root ball is just gonna get massive, and it eventually will almost cover the entire bucket, and then it only leaves a little bit room for water, so you constantly have to refill. So in my conclusion, everything is great. The light works great. As I mentioned, the hood here gets very warm, so you can't touch it for too long. Don't put anything on top of it. Also, because of the heat of the vent here, this hood, it will generate a little bit heat in your tent. So what I normally do is I'll leave the top of the tent right here slightly open when it gets too hot. If you have a fan to circulate air, that may works best. And also, if you're doing it inside, like your house or closet or whatever, where the temperature is great and nice and cool, then it will perform very well. If you do it in your garage in the summer of Texas heat, like me, this is gonna cause a little bit of a problem because it will generate heat, and then with it being inside the garage, and then the outside temperature is already like up above 90 degrees, so in here it's gonna be above 100 degrees, so that may cause a little bit of a problem. So what I did was I turned on the lights in the evening, so that helped a little bit. So instead of doing it during the day, I get the lights to turn on in the evening, and then it will be off during the day. So that kind of helped with the heat. As far as the tent, it's very highly reflective. So it does help kind of like bounce lights back into the plant, which will help the plants grow much better when it gets higher, and then you have to lift the light up. So once you pull the light up, the intensity would not be as strong, and it won't penetrate through into the center. So that's why you need this reflection right here, the reflective material to kind of like bounce light into sections where the light can't reach. So that would help the plants grow a little bit more. So as far as growing tomatoes, as you can see, is doing amazing. I'm sure it will do the same for peppers and whatever else you grow using this light. I think it's gonna do well. The only thing that I have complained about is the heat. So that's my only complaint. Also, one more thing. It only comes with one of the bungee cord here. I recommend getting 2 because all 4 of these hinges connect to one. The light will sway like this. So it won't be good. So you need, I would recommend one hinge here, and then that one connected to that bungee. So that would help with the light swaying back and forth when you touch it slightly. And that is it, guys. So Mars Hydro light with the tent, the combo works great. it's kind of small. It only gonna grow one tomato plant. Yeah, for sure, one pepper plants, because pepper can get massive when you grow them into hydroponic. But that's it, guys. So one more thing I forgot to show you. Here is the initial plant that I had 2 of, that I moved one into this. And that is the size, because if the container is small, the plant will remain small, but you will get fruits. You see that? I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 fruits from this little tiny plant. So larger container, more room for the roots to grow, so the plant will grow much bigger. Little container, the roots will have nowhere to go, and it will stay small. So that's the size of the small one, and that is the size of the large one. So there's a huge difference. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Check the lights out. I will post links and all that stuff. Again, it's great for growing one plant, one tomato plant, one pepper plant, whatever plants you want to grow. It works perfectly as it should. I really like it, except for the heat part. So that's it, guys. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.